In this video, we will be going over the hypostatic union as described by Pope St. Cyril I of Alexandria. Now, it's important to note when exactly the hypostatic union occurs. It occurs at the moment of Christ's conception in St. Mary's womb, when God the Logos, the second person in the Trinity, took on flesh. Now, it is important before we explain the hypostatic union to clarify some of the terminology, that being the words used in the Alexandrian Greek vocabulary, which are used when explaining the incarnation. Now, the four main words that are used are ousia, phusis, hypostasis, and prosopon. I will write these down here. So the first one I mentioned is ousia. So that is spelled like that in Greek. And then we have the next one I mentioned is phusis. And then we have hypostasis. 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 Sorry if my writing is messy. And then prosopon was the last one I mentioned. So prosopon. So in English, we will usually pronounce this as ousia. This usually gets pronounced as physis. I will write this one below. This usually we pronounce as hypostasis, and this gets just pronounced as prosopon. Okay, so the first word that I mentioned, ousia, this is translated as substance or essence in English. Now, for example, the three persons of the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, all share the same divine essence. Humans all share the same human essence. So that's basically what that word is referring to. So the three persons of the Trinity all have the same one divine essence. The next word, phusis, actually, we'll get back to that word later, because I would like to explain hypostasis first, and you'll see why. Hypostasis is a particular instantiation of an essence. Some will even describe it as a concrete reality. So, for example, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are each a single divine hypostasis, or the Son was a divine hypostasis before the hypostatic union. The Logos, before he took on flesh, he was a divine hypostasis. So one divine essence and three divine hypostases, or three divine concrete realities. And then the next word, prosopon. Now this word usually gets confused with hypostasis, but it actually is referring specifically to person. That's what it translates to in English, is person. So for example, you can have two human hypostases. Let's say they're named Steve and Bob. They are both human hypostases, and they are also both prosopon. They are both persons. But when you have, say, for example, two trees, they are both a tree hypostasis of the instantiated from the tree essence, but they are not persons. So that is the distinction between hypostasis and person. Now, so this word that I skipped here, physis, directly translated as nature in English, can actually have different meanings depending on its context. It can either refer to an essence or to a hypostasis. So, for example, if we say the nature of humanity, in that context, it is referring to the essence of humanity. But if we say, for example, the nature of Steve, one single human hypostasis, then we are referring to a single hypostasis. So in that case, nature would be the one hypostasis. So this word can actually be used to refer to two different things, essence and hypostasis. So it can mean either one, depending on the context. Okay, so now that we've established this vocabulary, let's go on to explaining the hypostatic union. Now, what exactly is the hypostatic union? The hypostatic union is exactly what it says. It is the union of two hypostases. So, before the union, as I described earlier, the union occurs at the moment of conception. Before the union, God the Logos was a single divine hypostasis. So let's say that this is the divine hypostasis of God the Logos. So I'll represent it as this rectangle with horizontal lines. So this is a divine hypostasis, or an instantiation of a divine essence. Now, at the moment of conception, a human hypostasis is also created. I will represent it with a rectangle with vertical lines. So this is a human hypostasis. At the moment it is created, it is united to the divine hypostasis. So at the moment of conception, a human hypostasis is created, and at that same moment, the hypostatic union occurs between the two hypostases. So they unite into one hypostasis. Now, it's important to note that when they unite, they do not mix. There is no mixing. And no confusion. No mixing, no confusion, and also no separation. Now we can say that that there are two hypostases only in contemplation, but in reality, they are one. So we can say that in contemplation only, there is a divine hypostasis and a human hypostasis. They do not mix, but in reality, they are one. They are one hypostasis without separation, but also without mixing and confusion. Now, as I said earlier, the word physis, or nature, can also refer to a hypostasis. So when we say that Christ has one nature out of two natures, we're referring to him having one hypostasis out of two hypostases. Okay, so before the union, there are two natures or two hypostases, and after the union, there is one nature or one hypostasis. It is not two essences uniting into one essence. Okay, it is rather two hypostases, one instantiated from the divine essence, and the other instantiated from the human essence, united into a single hypostasis, and in that context, a single nature. So it's important to note that after the union, that Christ is still consubstantial, or of the same essence with the Father, and consubstantial with us humans, or of the same essence with humanity. So again, as I said in the beginning, this is the Christology that was described by Pope St. Cyril. And this was the Christology that was dogmatized at the Third Ecumenical Council, the Council of Ephesus, and as we all know, ecumenical councils are infallible, so this is infallible dogma. And that will be all for this video.